And this reflects the mind of the colonialists at that time. The curiosity.
The founder.
The founder, yeah. The founder, yeah, exactly. So, the building evokes a certain sense of power.
What about museum as a living space?
This is so
because the living space can be in contradiction to its the symbolic value of the building or the historical connotations of the building. It may be, contrapuntal tadi, maybe a counterpoint to that historical significance. So maybe we want to get rid of the historical significance and come up with a new narrative.
There are two ways to look at the museum. One is existing places. For example, a simple example is perhaps so simple as Sarawak Cultural Village. You can see it as a living museum. Some will say that Georgetown, as per its heritage status, will be a living museum, looking to the continuity of the beginning of the place. So it's place and sense making. It's place making actually. See, this is again a Eurocentric concept, condescending upon non-white peoples as if white peoples do not develop and do not evolve. There's no change. So the idea of living museum subconsciously evokes this idea or this attitude that non-whites do not change. Non-whites are static.
Sometimes it can be a Disneyland also.
It can be a Disneyland.
It's a stage environment.
Exactly.
Where the people who are practicing actually are just actors.
Exactly.
That can be a critique of the concept of living museum.
Exactly.
But what about living museum as in relation to particular, intangible cultural heritage, some rituals, some practices that you need to retain, which is very central in our cosmology that we want to continue. So, in order to do that, we have to make sure that, for example, a particular village still retain that. So that can be also living museum, kan?
Exactly. Yeah. When you say this, I was imagining the sites, the paddy fields. That continuity between Seberang Perai and Kedah. That's heritage. That visual is heritage, and it's a living museum.
Yeah.
The paddy fields and the people working on it, the paddy and its activities, these are living museum.
Yeah.
Albeit a manner in which we have to be very alert in how we see it. The term traditional is itself could be false, because tradition is a category that was conjured when Europe began to feel modern, to be modern, the invention of modernity. With the invention of modernity, 1700.
So it's a part of a modern project, modernist.
It is a part of when modernity was invented. See, from early modern, we talk about periodization. Early modern means about 16th century. Okay? Early modern, middle modern, 18th century, late modern, 20th century. Now it's post-modern. We're looking at that periodization. When Europe invented modernity, the discourse in Europe, they also invented tradition.
Yeah.
And we, in our sleepwalking capacity or subconsciousness, consume that as tradition. In other words, we ourselves templated our being based on the European idea of development and define what is not modern as tradition.
Okay.
To me, that's a false dichotomy.
Maybe they invented the definition of tradition.
Yeah.
But if I refer back to my guru, Ismail,
Yeah.
who actually is a strong critic of modernist paradigm, tradition has nothing to do with the definition given by the Western paradigm. Our tradition speaks about timelessness, which is anti-history. In a way, it is non-linear. It's not about. This is what the term used by Ismail, Aristotelian lineology.
Yeah.
If you are trapped in that, because history is Western concept of history is very linear.
Yeah.
So anything in the past is considered as a relic,
Yeah.
old.
Yeah.
But Eastern concept of history, even the name history is sejarah. Sejarah means from Arabic sajaratun,
Yeah.
which means a tree. A tree doesn't look like a linear thing, but it's fractal
Yes.
and cyclical. So it's interesting that Dato mentioned about living living field, living museum can be an extension of that concept of tradition. Maknanya tradition itu satu yang beku instead of something yang integral in our even in contemporary life, kan?
Exactly.
So in that case, sometimes living museums can be a way of extending this Western punya penjajahan minda. Can we look at it that way?
Yes, and living museums are part of this imperialist ethos that has developed in the last 200 years, looking at the dichotomy between modernity and tradition. To the European mind, to the collectors in the British Museum room, and they also mentioned that the mind of the collector, something like that. The non-European ethos, the non-European cosmology is tradition, primitive, backward.
Yeah.
And therefore, if we look at the Pennyfields as a backward, primitive tradition, then we are imposing that imperialist view of ourselves. We are looking at
The
from the other lens.
Western lens.
Yes. So, but if we look at the Pennyfields as a landscape that is non-Aristotelian, non-linear, then we are synthesizing our lives, and most of us do not live in Pennyfields, but we look upon Pennyfields and penny production as integral to our cosmos, transcending the dichotomy between modernity and tradition.